Imagine being trapped in a wheelchair while three strangers torture your dog inches from your face. You're screaming. People are watching. Nobody moves. Then footsteps, fast, heavy, furious, and a voice cuts through like a blade. "Stop right there!" What happens next destroyed a political dynasty and made national news. Before we proceed, drop your locations in the comments right now, and when this story ends, rate it from 0 to 10. Set? Let's dive in. Golden light spilled through the oaks of Riverside Green Park, painting the grass in soft amber. Birds called to one another from the branches, and a gentle breeze carried the smell of fresh earth and blooming jasmine. It was the kind of morning that made the world feel forgiving. Haley Watts wheeled herself along the winding path, her hands moving in slow, practiced rhythm. Beside her, Lily padded quietly, her golden fur catching the early sun. The retriever's harness read, "Service Dog, Do Not Distract." But to Haley, the words didn't capture half of what Lily meant to her. Lily was her hands when they trembled, her balance when the world tilted, her heartbeat when anxiety clawed at her chest. 2 years ago, Haley had been an EMT, the one who ran toward sirens, who pulled strangers from wreckage. Then a highway pileup changed everything. She remembered the screech of tires, the flash of headlights, and then nothing but hospital ceilings and doctors who wouldn't meet her eyes. She stopped near a bench overlooking the pond and exhaled. Lily circled once, then lay down in the grass beside her, nose resting on her paws. Haley reached down and scratched behind the dog's ear. "Good girl," she whispered. For a few precious minutes the world was gentle. Then the laughter came. 3 young men strolled into view, loud, shoulders loose, eyes scanning for entertainment. Trent Mallory led the group, his jaw sharp, his smirk sharper. Zach Klein walked at his right, thick-necked and restless. Evan Reese trailed behind, grinning at whatever cruelty was coming next. Their attention landed on Haley like a weight. "Look at that," Trent said, voice carrying. "Whole park to herself." Zach snorted. "Nice wheels. She get a speeding ticket in that thing?" Haley's grip tightened on her armrests. She said nothing, hoping silence would bore them. It didn't. The 3 drifted closer, circling like dogs, scenting something weak. Zach stepped directly into her path, blocking the trail. "What's the dog for?" he asked, nodding at Lily. "Fetch your dignity." Lily's ears flattened. She didn't growl, but her body tensed against Haley's leg. "Please," Haley said quietly. "We're just trying to enjoy the morning." Zach crouched low, reached out, and flicked Lily's tail hard. Haley flinched. Her heart slammed against her ribs. The men laughed and moved closer. Trent stepped forward, his shadow falling over Haley like a blade. "What happened to you anyway?" He tilted his head, studying her wheelchair with exaggerated curiosity. "Forget how to walk? Or were you always this pathetic?" Evan snickered and grabbed his own thighs, shuffling in a crude imitation of wheels turning. "Beep beep! Make way for the cripple mobile!" The words hit Haley like stones. Her throat tightened, but she forced her voice steady. "Please, just leave us alone. We haven't done anything to you." "Haven't done anything," Zach repeated in a mocking falsetto. He circled behind her wheelchair, trapping her between the 3 of them. "Hear that, boys? She hasn't done anything." Lily raised her head. A low growl rumbled from her chest, soft but unmistakable. Her golden eyes locked onto Zach, every muscle coiled beneath her fur. "Ooh, the dog's mad now." Zach grinned, bouncing on his heels. "What's she gonna do? Lick me to death?" "Lily, easy," Haley whispered, her hand trembling as she reached for the dog. "It's okay, girl, it's—" Zach's leg swung fast and brutal. His boot connected with Lily's ribs. The sound was sickening, a dull thud followed by a sharp, piercing yelp. Lily tumbled sideways, rolling across the grass, her legs scrambling for purchase. "No!" Haley screamed. "Lily!" She lurched forward in her chair, arms straining, but the wheels wouldn't move fast enough. Her fingers clawed at the air, reaching for her dog, reaching for something she couldn't grasp. Around them, the park had gone still. A woman on a nearby bench pressed a hand to her mouth. A jogger slowed, uncertain. A father pulled his child closer and looked away. No one moved. The three men erupted in laughter, ugly barking sounds that echoed across the silent green. "Stop it!" Haley's voice cracked, raw and desperate. "Leave her alone! Leave us alone!" Trent shrugged, still grinning. Or what? 50 yards away, a figure rounded the bend in the jogging trail. Officer Caleb Rowan wore a faded gray t-shirt and running shorts, off-duty and anonymous among the morning crowd. His stride was easy, his breathing measured. Then he saw her. The wheelchair, the circling men, the golden retriever lying motionless in the grass. Caleb's pace faltered, his jaw tightened, his eyes went cold, and then he started running, not jogging, sprinting. "Stop right there!" Caleb's voice cut through the morning air like a blade. He closed the distance in seconds, his feet pounding against the grass, his eyes locked on the three men surrounding Haley. Trent turned, his smirk faltering for just a moment before resurfacing. "Who the hell are you?" "Back away from her, now!" Zach laughed, puffing out his chest. "Or what, jogger boy? Mind your business." Caleb didn't answer. He stepped directly between Haley and the men, his body a wall. Up close, the easy runner's posture was gone. His shoulders were squared, his stance grounded, every inch of him radiating controlled authority. "I'm Officer Caleb Rowan, Riverside PD." His voice was low, steady. "You're going to step back, or I'm going to put you on the ground." The smirk faded from Trent's face. Evan shuffled backward, suddenly uncertain. But Zach wasn't smart enough to listen. He lunged. Caleb moved faster. He caught Zach's wrist, twisted, and drove him to his knees in one fluid motion. Zach yelped, struggling, but Caleb's grip was iron. Trent cursed and grabbed Haley's wheelchair, yanking it sideways. Haley gasped, her hands flying to the armrests. "Don't touch her!" Caleb's free hand shot out, shoving Trent back hard enough to send him stumbling. The young man's eyes went wide with shock. No one had ever pushed back before. Evan bolted. Across the park, voices rose. A woman shouted into her phone, "Yes, Riverside Green. Send someone now!" A man in a jogging suit stepped forward, then another, forming a loose barrier around the scene. Caleb kept Zach pinned and turned his head toward Lily. The golden retriever lay on her side, her breathing shallow, her eyes glassy with pain. "Easy, girl," Caleb murmured. He knelt carefully, one hand still restraining Zach, and ran gentle fingers along Lily's ribs. "You're okay. You're safe now." Lily whimpered but didn't pull away. Haley was shaking, tears streaming down her cheeks. Will she be? She's breathing. Ribs might be bruised, but she's tough. Caleb met Haley's eyes. "So are you. You did good. It's over." Sirens wailed in the distance. Caleb helped guide Haley's wheelchair beneath the shade of a wide oak, Lily limping beside them. Trent sat in the grass, wrists zip-tied. His arrogance finally cracked. Haley looked up at Caleb, her voice barely a whisper. "Thank you." The police station smelled like stale coffee and fluorescent light. Haley sat in a hard plastic chair, her hands wrapped around a paper cup she hadn't sipped from. Lily lay at her feet, a soft, temporary harness replacing the one that had been torn in the struggle. The dog's breathing was steady now, but every few minutes she shifted, favoring her bruised ribs. Caleb stood nearby, arms crossed, watching the hallway like he expected trouble to walk through the door. A detective slid a form across the desk. "Sign here, Ms. Watts. We'll process the complaint." Haley's pen trembled as she wrote her name. "You did the right thing," Caleb said quietly. "This matters." She nodded, but her stomach turned when she caught the detective exchanging a glance with a uniformed officer near the water cooler. Something unspoken passed between them. "Ma'am," the detective said carefully, "you should know, Trent Mallory's father is Deputy Mayor Richard Mallory." The words landed like a stone in still water. Haley's mouth went dry. "What does that mean for my case?" The detective didn't answer. The call came 3 hours later. Haley was still in her apartment, Caleb helping her settle Lily onto her dog bed, when her phone buzzed. The voice on the other end was polished, cold, and utterly without warmth. "Ms. Watts, my name is Gerald Ashford. I represent the Mallory family." A pause. "I'm calling to strongly encourage you to withdraw your complaint." "Excuse me?" "If you proceed, we will file a defamation suit. We will contact your landlord regarding lease violations, and we have witnesses prepared to testify that your dog, Lily, is it, displayed aggressive behavior toward my client." Haley's chest tightened. "That's a lie." "Truth is expensive, Ms. Watts. Can you afford it?" The line went dead. Caleb watched her face pale. "What did they say?" She told him. Every word. His jaw hardened. "I'm not leaving you alone tonight." She didn't argue. Later, Haley lay in bed, Lily curled against her side. The dog's nose pressed into her own ribs, sniffing gently at the wound she couldn't reach. Haley stared at the ceiling. This wasn't just 3 men in a park anymore. This was power, wealth, a machine built to crush anyone who fought back. Her hands curled into fists beneath the blanket. "They want me to disappear." She closed her eyes. "I won't." Haley found the harness 3 days later. It hung on its hook by the door, exactly where she always left it, except now the straps were sliced clean through. Surgical cuts. Deliberate. She stared at it, her hands shaking. Someone had been inside her apartment. The police took her report with the same careful neutrality she was beginning to hate. "Could have been a defect in the material," the officer suggested. "Or maybe it got caught on something?" Haley said nothing. She knew what clean cuts looked like. Caleb arrived that evening with a new harness and a small cardboard box under his arm. Inside was a motion-activated security camera. "It's not much," he said, mounting it above her door, "but it'll record anyone who comes near." "You don't have to do this." Her voice was hollow. He turned to look at her. "Yeah, I do." The watching started 2 days later. Zach's car, a black sedan with tinted windows, appeared across the street from her building. Sometimes Evan sat in the passenger seat, scrolling through his phone. They never approached. They didn't have to. Their presence was the message. "We're here. We're waiting." Haley stopped opening her blinds. The brick came on a Thursday night. She was in bed, Lily curled beside her, when the window exploded. Glass sprayed across the floor. Lily yelped and scrambled off the mattress. Haley screamed, throwing her arms over her face. When the ringing in her ears faded, she saw it. A jagged brick lying among the shards, a rubber band holding a folded note. "Drop it, or next time we don't miss." The lawyer's letter arrived the next morning. Criminal charges for filing a false report. Threats of prosecution. Language designed to bury her. Haley sat at her kitchen table, the letter trembling in her hands, and finally broke. The sobs came hard and ugly. She slumped forward, her forehead pressing into Lily's fur, her fingers clutching the dog's coat like a lifeline. "I can't," she whispered. "I can't do this." Lily whimpered and licked her cheek. The knock at her door made her flinch, but it was Caleb's voice. "Haley, it's me." She let him in. He saw her face, the letter, the taped-up window. His expression went cold, not with defeat, with fury. "They're not going to win," he said quietly. "I promise you that." The storage room door hung open, its lock shattered. Haley wheeled herself down the basement hallway, her breath catching in her throat. She already knew what she would find. She just wasn't ready to see it. Lily's training equipment, years of careful collection, lay in ruins. Balance boards snapped in half. Medical supply kits gutted, their contents scattered like confetti. Spare harnesses sliced to ribbons. The weighted vest Haley had saved 3 months to buy was torn apart, its stuffing spilling across the concrete. And on the wall, in dripping red spray paint, "Next time we kick harder." Haley's hands trembled as she raised her phone and took pictures, one after another. Evidence. Proof. Her fear had calcified into something harder now, something that burned. Caleb arrived within the hour, 2 uniformed officers behind him. They photographed the scene, dusted for prints, asked questions Haley had answered a dozen times before. "This is escalation," Caleb said quietly, standing beside her as the officers worked. "They're not trying to scare you anymore. They're preparing for something worse." Haley's stomach turned. "What do I do?" "You let me handle it." That afternoon, Caleb drove her to meet with a victim advocate named Sandra, a soft-spoken woman with kind eyes and a steady voice. She explained restraining orders, documentation, and emergency contacts. She used words like pattern of harassment and coordinated intimidation. Haley listened, nodded, took notes. But inside, she felt like she was drowning. That night, Lily wouldn't settle. She paced the apartment, ears flat, tail low, whimpering at shadows. The trauma had seeped into her, too. Haley lifted her onto the bed, something she rarely did, and wrapped her arms around the dog's golden fur. "You're safe," she whispered. "I've got you." But her own eyes betrayed her. The doubt was there, flickering like a candle in a storm. Caleb sat in a chair by the window, phone pressed to his ear. He spoke in low tones, calling in favors, arranging patrol rotations, setting up a surveillance schedule with officers he trusted. When he finally hung up, he looked at the bed. Haley and Lily were asleep, curled together like 2 survivors on a raft. His jaw tightened. "No more," he thought. "This ends." Caleb sat in his truck outside Haley's building, replaying the park attack in his mind. The way Trent had circled, the way Zach had lunged, the way Evan hung back, waiting for permission. They weren't random. They were coordinated, predictable. And predictable men made mistakes. He'd spent 3 days mapping their patterns. The black sedan appeared every night between 10 and midnight. They watched Haley's window. They tested locks. They were building courage for something bigger. Tonight, he'd be ready. Haley's hands shook as she helped install the last camera above the stairwell. "You're sure about this?" she asked. Caleb checked the angle, nodded. "They're coming back." The storage room was a message, but it wasn't the ending. They want to finish what they started. Her throat tightened. "Lily." "They won't touch her." His voice was iron. "Not again." At 11:15, the building went quiet. Caleb stood in the darkened hallway outside Haley's door, his body camera active, its red light blinking against his chest. He'd sent the patrol car around the block, close enough to respond, far enough to avoid spooking the targets. He waited. Footsteps echoed from the stairwell. 3 sets. Careful. Deliberate. Shadows emerged. Trent first. Ski mask pulled low. Crowbar in hand. Zach followed with a baseball bat. Evan carried a duffel bag, its contents clinking softly. They moved toward Haley's door. "Stop!" Caleb's voice cut through the darkness like a gunshot. He stepped forward, blocking their path. Trent froze, then laughed. "You again? You're off duty, hero. This isn't your—" Caleb moved. He caught Trent's wrist, twisted the crowbar free, and drove him into the wall. Zach swung the bat. Caleb ducked, grabbed his arm, and swept his legs. Zach hit the floor hard. Evan bolted. Caleb let him run 3 steps before closing the distance and pinning him face first against the stairwell railing. 30 seconds. 3 men, all down. Inside the apartment, Lily whined, pressing against Haley's leg. Haley held her breath, watching through the peephole, her heart pounding. Caleb zip-tied their wrists, one by one. His breathing was steady. His hands didn't shake. "You're done," he said quietly. "All of you." Trent spat blood onto the floor. "My father will bury you." Caleb tapped the camera on his chest. "He can try." The footage played on a monitor in the precinct's internal affairs office. Every second was there. The masked figures, the weapons, Caleb's commands, the takedown. Crystal clear, undeniable. Detective Maria Santos leaned back in her chair. "This is airtight." Caleb nodded. "Add the storage room photos, the slashed harness, the brick through her window, and the threatening calls. It's a pattern." Santos pulled up the case file. Witness statements from parkgoers. Haley's documentation. The lawyer's recorded threats. "The Mallory family won't be able to bury this," she said. "Not anymore." Gerald Ashford tried anyway. He arrived at the station in a tailored suit, demanding the charges be dropped, citing misunderstanding and overzealous policing. He threatened lawsuits. He invoked the deputy mayor's name like a shield. Santos handed him a flash drive containing the body cam footage. "Watch it," she said. "Then tell me about misunderstandings." Ashford left without another word. The story broke 2 days later. Local news ran the headline first. Deputy mayor's son accused of attacking disabled woman's service dog. By evening, it was national. Social media exploded. Clips of Haley's statement, photos of Lily, demands for accountability. Haley sat beside Caleb at the press conference, her voice steady despite the cameras. "I didn't ask for this fight," she said, "but I won't be silenced. Not by threats, not by money, not by power." Lily sat at her feet, calm and golden, her presence a quiet testament. The community responded. Disability advocates organized rallies. Neighbors left flowers at Haley's door. Dog lovers across the country donated to replace Lily's destroyed equipment. For the first time, Haley didn't feel alone. The arrests came on a Friday morning. Officers escorted Trent, Zach, and Evan from their homes in handcuffs. News cameras captured every moment. The deputy mayor issued a terse statement distancing himself from his son. The machine had finally cracked. That night, Haley sat on her couch. Lily curled against her side. The apartment was quiet. No lurking cars, no broken windows, no threatening letters. Just stillness. Caleb sat across from her, exhausted but present. Haley looked at him, tears spilling down her cheeks. Not from fear this time. Relief. "Thank you," she whispered. Lily nuzzled her hand, and for the first time in weeks, Haley breathed. Golden light spilled through the oaks of Riverside Green Park. Haley wheeled herself along the familiar path, Lily padding beside her. The same bench, the same pond, the same birds calling from the branches. But everything had changed. The fear that had clung to this place was gone. In its absence, something quieter had taken root, something that felt like peace. Footsteps crunched on the gravel behind her. She didn't flinch. Caleb appeared at her side, dressed in jeans and a simple jacket. No uniform, no badge, just him. "Thought I'd find you here," he said. Haley smiled. Felt like it was time to come back. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching the water ripple in the morning breeze. Lily lay in the grass, her tail wagging gently, a slow, cautious rhythm, but real. "I've been thinking," Haley said, "about what comes next." Caleb glanced at her. "Yeah?" "Advocacy work. For people with disabilities. For victims who get silenced." She paused. "Someone has to fight for them. Why not me?" He nodded slowly. "You'd be good at it." The news had continued for weeks. Trent Mallory faced felony charges: assault, harassment, breaking and entering. His father's political career was unraveling. Zach and Evan had turned on each other, cutting deals to reduce their sentences. The machine hadn't just cracked. It had collapsed. Haley had started physical therapy again. Lily, too. They trained together now. New exercises, new routines, building strength they'd lost. Lily's new harness was reinforced, the straps double-stitched. Stronger than before. Haley reached down and placed her hand on Lily's head. The dog looked up at her, golden eyes calm, trusting. "Thank you," Haley said quietly, turning to Caleb. "Not just for saving us, for refusing to let me disappear." Caleb was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke, his voice softer than she'd ever heard it. "This one was different," he admitted. "It wasn't just a call. It was personal." He met her eyes. "You changed something in me, too." Haley smiled, small, but real. She gripped her wheels and pushed forward. Caleb walked beside her, matching her pace. The path stretched ahead, dappled in light. "We're both survivors," Haley said softly. Caleb nodded. "And you're not alone." Did this story captivate you? Share your rating from 0 to 10 in the comments and tell us what you think. Smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you will never miss our next story.